Hi, everybody, or anyone. Hello.
Hello.
Well, I am back today with the beautiful Julie Cuccia-Watts. And how are you doing today?
I'm doing okay.
Good, I hear.
Surviving.
Yeah, absolutely. I think everybody's been fighting that bug like all across the United States.
Yeah.
What's up with that? But we have.
Hey, we've got some people.
Yes, we do. So, hi, Maria. And would you look who is here? Hi, Peter.
Hi, Peter. He has to come. He has to show up.
Hi, Rhiannon. Thank you, everybody. Glad to see you. Hi, Farah. Oh, goodness. So, if you hadn't watched part 1, I would suggest definitely watching that. I know that you've been on a few different channels. Amber.
Yeah.
I mean, she's pretty much got your life history on there.
Pretty much.
But so we covered like your time in Egypt, and you've been there a couple times, haven't you?
Yeah. I was there in 2007. And then I was there again in 2009.
And what pretty much had prompted that was like so let's go over yes, the sequel. Carol is here. Hi, Carol. What originally prompted you to head to Egypt?
Well, I was in LA lecturing and doing LATs, like the LA Tarot Symposium. And I was staying at a house of the hostess with Mary Greer and a few other people. And we were the speakers at this conference. And Mary happened to mention that she was going to be going to Egypt with Nikki Scully and Normandy Ellis. And I've been a big fan of Normandy Ellis since her book came out in 1988. And if you don't know who she is, look up her books. All of her books are amazing, and she's a great writer and a poet. And she's written, actually, her book is coming out again. Her Awakening Osiris book is getting a new edition. She's putting it out in May. And that was the book that came out in 1988 that just like made me fall in love with her, because her words were like the pictures in my head. I mean, I was like, she gets it. She gets Egypt like I do. And I never thought I'd ever meet her. And it turned out that I turned 49 on my trip. So like it was timed out so that it was going to be on my birthday. And I thought, this is my trip. If I'm ever going to go, this is it. So I somehow got the money together. I was given scholarships, and like anonymous people gave me money to go. And I still don't know who gave me money. And it was like the trip of a lifetime. And I didn't think I'd ever get to go again. And then I got to go a second time, and I got to see the Western Desert, and I was introduced to Real Sky Astrology by Robert Bauval, and in the 2009 trip.
So 2007 and then 2009?
Yeah.
Okay, so what tarot had you created before your trip to Egypt?
MAAT. I had done Ancestral Path, of course, and Blue Moon, and MAAT was just coming out. And that was the reason that I was in Los Angeles. It was 2006, and MAAT had just come out. and I was, presenting it for the first time to people, and it was, um, the equinox of 2006, and, it was kind of like this big deal, and,
Yeah.
um, so, and I was still terrified to talk in front of people at that time, and I remember there were certain people they were my lifeline, who I would look at while I was speaking, and I wasn't used to traveling by myself at that time, but my brother lived in LA, so I was able to stay with him, like, part of the time, and, like, my last night, I spent time at their place, and it was pretty fun.
Um, so with like I have myself your journey into Egypt. And I also have an app that I found off, I think it was off of your
Yeah, Fool's
New
Talk,
Moon
yeah,
New Moon trading company is where like you can find everything that you have available, right? And so I've got the app, and I know you had told us in the last chat that you use that app to circulate your uh, post every day about.
yeah. I use my app more than I use my cards, 'cause
But
it's
it looks really
convenient,
nice, I mean, it's
really handy.
absolutely. So, like, okay, so my question is then, like, by looking at your creation of, your tarot as like on a timeline, you've always had the Egypt thing, like it's like a past memory or something. It's always been there because in the first chat we talked about your visions and your traveling. So all that came even before you did
Oh, yeah.
this.
Oh, yes. Well, Egypt has always been, like, a thing for me, like, some little girls like horses. I was one of those little girls who was, like, an Egyptophile, like, me and my best friend would, like, go into the library, and we'd, like, try to find the best Egyptian books and the best archaeology books, and, that was my thing. I was very interested in anything Egyptian. Um,
And so, okay, after the did the real sky come after that? Was this the last one that you did
yeah,
then?
that was the last one that I did. Yeah.
Okay.
Um, Journey into Egypt was the first time that I did a real sky deck, because after I found out about real sky, I felt like, "Oh, MAAT is wrong. It's it's not right. It's Western astrology, which is not really correct, and it
Right,
doesn't take into account precession." And I
right,
was pissed, It's like, here I had worked so hard to get this deck out, and it wasn't correct, and I was gonna have to do it over, and I didn't wanna do it over, but I took about 3 months of not wanting to do it over, and then there was an eclipse, and I had a huge download dream where I saw all the pictures, boom, 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 in the dream, and it was like this high priest was standing there in this dream, showing me that I was gonna do this, and I was like, I woke up and I was like, I posted on Facebook about how this big download I had to do another deck, but I don't think I'm going to. And Normandy Ellis posted on there, "Why wouldn't you?"
right.
And so I was like, "Why wouldn't I?"
Yeah,
So I kind of made a bargain, and I had a show coming up, and I was like, "Okay, if you want me to do this, then I have to make such a amount of money to be able to afford the canvases to be able to do this project." And, thinking full well that I would never make that much money at one of these little vendor things that I was doing. and by some odd chance, I made twice as much money than I needed to do that project.
Wow.
So it was a go, and it took me on a really wild ride. It's always been a wild ride, but Journey into Egypt was a really wild ride, you know?
I feel like, I'm definitely a fan. I'm like a, you know, groupie. It's like, I plan on having everything that I can, at least, even if, because so far I've only been able to find the MAAT and the Journey into Egypt on your app, but I would like to have everything. Um, but a part of me feels like that it wasn't an accident. Nothing was an accident.
No.
You were, this was definitely something that had to come out. It had to come out. The real sky, especially, is, it's, and you were just leading up to it.
Yeah, it does seem like that. It does seem coherent when you look back at it. Like, of course, it was,
Yeah.
and I'll look back at earlier decks and go, look, I already had this little piece in this card hidden in the background. So it was already in there. And then, it just gets bigger the following deck. It just blows up and gets bigger and is more explained. But it's almost like a sketch. You start out with these lines and then the details kind of form themselves as time goes on, and you block it in and then you put in the details later. It is sort of like that.
I have a question. So the pentacles are, um,
Coins.
they're coins, but I thought I had heard it from you before. Are they also like spirit?
No, they're earth. Coins are earth.
Is it just earth?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. I thought maybe, not sure quite where I heard it from, but the Egyptian had pentacles as something else. So I didn't know if maybe there was some type of a, reference to that in the coins, but who
No,
knows?
I flipped the elements for swords and wands, but I didn't flip the elements for anything else.
Okay, so swords and wands. Okay, so what was your, why
Um,
did you do that?
why did I do that?
Yeah.
Because um, I think something happened after 9/11 for me. Like, suddenly I realized that, swords are dangerous and they're forged in fire. And let's just call it what it is, you know? Like, these swords are dangerous. And
Mhm.
it's like the burning emotion. Like, cups are emotion, but swords are the burning emotion. And wands are air. Wands are how we change our mind. And like wands are like the trees in winter, and they give oxygen. The trees give us oxygen, and um, that was my justification. It just felt more real, and at the time that weight was um, putting swords with air, war had been more of a literary thing. War was something that you read about, and it wasn't something that we lived with. But after
Right.
100 years of constant wars and, all of the things that we've been through, I think we just have to look at swords as dangerous and war as dangerous
Mhm.
and not good for humans and other living things. So,
I wanna say thank you to everybody coming in. Um, I really appreciate it. Yeah, so I had remembered you talked about that, and I don't know why I was thinking it was pentacles, because I have heard that there's, like, a different element associated with them too,
no,
but I
no,
like that.
there weren't coins until that late era in Egypt. There were they would use rings, um, like money wasn't really money. Like, you'd use these ring weights to balance out. Say you had so many pounds of barley that you were trading for a cow, equal weight. And you couldn't take all that barley because it would just rot. So you'd be given the weight in rings, and then you could come and cash those in later. And
Oh,
that was really, it was just a marker for value. It wasn't something you would hoard.
right,
You would hoard the grain, or you would hoard the actual thing of value. You wouldn't hoard the money. Like that would, and gold was so prevalent that you know, it was just metal. It was just metal. It wasn't something that was so valuable. Like we think of gold today as being, something you would kill for. I mean, that wasn't true. That was just, you know, plastic.
right. It's interesting because Lady Blind Wolf says in Egypt, when you transitioned into the underworld, your heart was put on a scale and weighed against a feather. Isn't that kind of like what Mott?
Yes, that's her feather, Mahat's feather, is
Okay.
what your heart is weighed against.
Mm-hmm.
And, keep your heart light. That's the whole point of it, is not to be traveling to the next world with a
With all that
heavy heart, or
baggage.
you will be eaten by Amit. So,
That makes sense.
yeah.
And that's the alligator, right?
Yeah, the alligator face, lion, leopard body,
Oh, okay.
and hippopotamus bottom. Like, it was a mythical creature. But I
Mm-hmm.
think most of those creatures were kind of like mother and death. So if you go cross over with a heavy heart, you might have to come back. You might get devoured and have to come back.
So what do you think then? I mean, because like everything that you talk about comes from not just experience, from going there, um, but um, you know, it's like your soul is from Egypt.
Mm, I'm there all the time. It's like I can feel myself wandering in the streets like all the time when I daydream. That's where I go.
So when you like watch a documentary
Yeah.
and it's about Egypt, um, I mean, where does your mind go? Do you ever get a feeling like, or do you like,
Coincidentally,
yeah,
we were just watching um, this documentary about Saqqara, right? And the whole time, of course, I've got a fever while I'm watching this because we're sick from whatever the kids have had, and I'm keep getting hit with this like place, the sense of place, and being a child in this place where the sun is shining and it's very warm, and I'm like putting my fingers in the hieroglyphs, and I'm feeling the texture of the stone, and I'm playing in this place, and I keep getting hit with that while I'm watching this thing and I'm getting memories that I don't have. I'm getting memories of a place, and I'm thinking, I wonder if there are any Victorian houses in Egypt, because I'm keep on getting a hit for a Victorian house while I'm in this scene playing in this like tomb or whatever it was, like temple or whatever it was I was playing in. It was like so common for me to be there because my father was an archaeologist or an Egyptologist or something. And that's what it felt like. And I thought, I wonder if there's any Victorian houses in Egypt, because I remember there being a place where we stayed. So, you
so
know,
Farah asked, she said she wonders what Egyptian gods and goddesses that you connect with.
oh, for sure, Mahat, for sure, Sekhmet, Amun Ra, all the gods that end up being the very popular gods of Luxor during the 18th dynasty. And not because I knew that, but because they would come to me in dreams. and
Yeah.
visions. And then later, after I went to Luxor, um, that's when I saw these gods that had already come to me. And so yeah, it's a weird life. um, yeah, there's definitely like consciousness coming through here.
So I'm messing with I look so yellow. I'm like, what is going on here? Why do I look yellow?
Oh,
My
don't.
light. But okay, so I mean, you felt compelled or like you've had to do these things. It's like you
Well,
have to share these visions
my
through your
first
art.
encounters were with Bast. My first encounters, and it started early. Um, I was in fourth grade, and my friend and I said, we would go running to the books and like, I want this one, I want this. There were some new books that came in, and I pulled this big book of pictures and Egyptian things, and I'm looking through the pages, and I see this golden cat, this
Mhm.
golden bast, and I'm like, okay, I want to read about this, but I'm going to come back to it because I want to see all the pictures first. So I get through the whole book, and then I go back to find the cat, and I can't find it.
Yeah.
It's not in there. I look through the book page by page, like 5 and 6 times because I can't believe I can't find it, and I can't find it. So this stuck with me forever. And then when I was in college, I was having these out of body experiences, and every time I'd have an out of body experience, I'd have this little cat with me. This little black cat would be with me. Sometimes it would pat my face, sometimes it would sit on me, but it would always be with me on my journeys, right?
Mm.
So one day I'm uh, at the student union and the bookstore, and I see this little black cat sitting on the shelf, and I still have it. And it was the shape of the cat that I didn't find in the book. And I was like, this is a real thing.
Uh-huh.
And then I had to, do the research to find out all about her. And it wasn't until 2007 that I realized that the cat was like Sekhmet. Like when we walked in, we were each we each walked into this temple of Ptah, and because he's one of the gods of Karnak, one of the important gods, and his wife was Sekhmet. So we walked in, and everybody was crying. We'd go in one at a time, and everybody came out crying. And I walked in, and I looked at this big black granite stone, and it was the cat. And I'm like, you're the one. You're the
Uh-huh.
one who's dragged me around and had me do all this stuff. I said, hey, I've done your bidding. I want my life back. Well, you don't say that to Sekhmet because
Right.
she will like kick your butt.
Yeah.
And she did. She kicked my butt good in the following years. But also, I had to do Journey into Egypt after that as well. But that was the first time I ever acknowledged that Sekhmet was an important goddess for me.
Wow.
So
So who is Bastet or Bast compared
she's
to?
a virgin. She's a version of Sekhmet. She's like a more domesticated version. She's a
Okay.
later era goddess. Um, More during Ptolemy era, Bast would have been. Um, like Sekhmet was more like Mut and would have been during the 18th dynasty time periods, like Karnak, Luxor. Um, Mut means mother and death, and Sekhmet is like
Oh,
powerful mother and death. You know, Sekhem is power, and Mut is mother and death. So
so
yeah,
I have a question then. And if like here, you're Egypt, and then you're learning real sky. When they talk about the Lion's Gate.
yeah.
So when is that? If the skies are off compared to
Yeah.
Western. When is that?
I've never even heard of that until recently,
Okay.
and some people talk about, the sun lining up with Sirius, and, like, the sun doesn't line up with Sirius. The Sirius is way below the ecliptic, and it doesn't line up with it. I mean, y you won't see Sirius because the sun is, like, blocking it out, but not because it's eclipsing it, or, like, I don't know. I don't know exactly what that is. I'm not, like, I don't know. I don't follow all the things that people say,
Right.
like,
Right.
"Oh, it's the Lionsgate," or "It's 11111."
Right.
I don't do
Well,
that.
there's not really a lot about it. It's like you don't really find a
Yeah,
lot of information about those
well,
things.
I I don't know. Just look at the real sky. Look at the sky. See
Mhm.
what's happening in the sky. Get an astronomy app. Take notes about what happens in your life
Mhm.
during certain aspects. If you have some terrible thing happen, or if you have some really good thing happen, mark that out. See if that repeats itself the next time. Things line up the same way. I mean, I think that's trial and error. That's like the best way to figure things out. Don't just, you know, take anybody's word for it. Don't even take my word for it. Just, look for yourself.
Maria said that they call it Lionsgate on 8/8, which it's still in Leo, even in real sky. So that's actually pretty interesting. We
Well,
were we were
eight,
looking at the whole Golden Gate, I think,
yeah,
and that those are the dates that were off. So it makes more sense, like what you said, to use
yeah. Well, an
an
eight,
app.
eight. I mean, even if you look at the names of our months,
Yeah.
the names of our months are different numbers. November is 9, December is 10, October is 8.
Yeah.
So
Sept is 7.
exactly. Those are all Roman numerations,
Yep.
and their beginning of their year was, March, and
March and
and
April. Yeah.
was all about war, and the you know Mars and Aries, and
Mhm.
the god of war, and we've got so much of the Roman garbage, like, dumped on us to be this war machine, and I'm just tired of it. I'm just tired of it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, so it's like you bring real sky. It's like true sidereal has been here and we know it, but people are like, mm. So it's like you bring in real sky, and with real sky, you bring Ophiuchus.
Yes.
You bring in 13.
Yes.
And 13 coincides with the 13 moon cycles.
Yes.
It makes sense because Ophiuchus, and what you told me earlier, Ophiuchus or Emotep?
Imhotep. Imhotep was, Hotep means peace. Imhotep is the name of the designer of the pyramids, and he brought medicine and the pyramids to Egypt after some cataclysm. You know, Something happened, and he was the one, and he was honored by being placed in the southern stars, the zodiac. And the southern stars would disappear and come back. So they were the stars of reincarnation. And they wanted to guarantee that Imhotep would always come back to help us. So they put him in the zodiac. They put him in the southern stars,
So
and honored him.
it it's like hearing that, and he's the first human to be
The
among
only human in the zodiac.
in the gods or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like what it kind of speaks to who we are meant to become. It's like it's hidden, but it's not. It's in plain sight. It's just look up at the real sky.
Yeah. Well,
you
the
know.
Coptics, the Coptics the Christians of Egypt thought that Jesus should be in the place of the snake bearer, and Asclepius was also thought to be in the place of the snake bearer. So it means the wisdom bearer, the bearer of wisdom. But the snake is always like the wajet is the snake bearer is feminine. The snake, the wajet, is the female. This long snake goddess that was the stars of the Milky Way is Nut, and she's night, and she's the mother. She's this very long goddess, and the only remnant we have of her is Virgo. I mean, that's this very long sign. It's a very long sign even now. But the way that I do my astrology is that there are feminine signs, Leo, Virgo, Libra, Scorpio, and those are all the feminine signs, and probably Imhotep or like the snake bearer.
Uh-huh.
All of those are the feminine signs, and then because you have Leo, Sekhmet, you have the Virgo, Hathor, because Leo or Sekhmet and becomes Hathor when after Sekhmet is drunk, after she's, tricked by Thoth to drink this wine or red colored beer,
Yeah.
and she becomes subdued and she goes to sleep and she stops killing, then she becomes the lactating, gestating Hathor, the goddess of attraction. So they're like two sides of
Yeah.
that feminine.
Duality.
Yeah. And then there's Mahat with the scales, another feminine goddess, and Sekhet, the scorpion goddess, whose priesthood studied poisons and antidotes. It was medicine. So that goes really well with Imhotep, who is also part of that month, um, medicine.
Do you believe then that these gods and goddesses walked in Egypt at one time?
What I think is that the energies are, this is the way that they can get me to understand what they are. It's all energy. Like it's all just energy, and they're trying to get me to understand. Like, give me something tangible that I can understand about this energy. Um, I don't know that I believe in gods. I think I believe in energy. I think that there's consciousness in the universe and it's trying to speak so that I can understand in a language that I can understand. And so I can understand timing. And I think that's kind of what I need to, like, that was one of the things that I got early on, is that if I didn't work hard every day, the timing of the universe would be off. This was an early message that I got in a dream state from a dead teacher of my teacher.
Yeah, and not always is the messenger the person that teaches us how to utilize that message.
Right.
They're a
Like, I
messenger.
didn't know how that was gonna come out because all I did was become a workaholic then after that. And then it wasn't until later that I was like, "Oh, timing is my superpower." So, time and calendars, and that's my superpower.
I can see that.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So, do you think that, Sekhmet is done with you?
No, I don't think so. Well, I'm working on something now, so I don't think that they're done with me yet.
Absolutely. So what are you working on? Can you tell us?
Well, it was actually your sister
I
that
remember.
inspired me to do this oracle, and I've been working on a 432 card oracle, um,
How many? Say that one more time.
432 cards, but it's actually 12 packs of 36 cards. And what it is um, kind of like precession. It's really like all of the ages, 36 cards for each of the ages, so that you can see, how things shift over over time. And I think it will be useful for like rising signs as well.
Yeah.
And like recently, I was getting major downloads, like during because I had put this oracle to like on hold. I had been disconnected and unplugged from it for a year. And then when Mercury went retrograde, I suddenly had new ideas for it. And then it just came through in gangbusters, like
Wow.
all kinds of ideas for it. That there would be layers of stories within the cards, between the ages, and that there would be like the story going around and the story going through it. And like, I still don't know exactly how that's gonna where that's gonna take me, but there's moon phases involved with it as well.
I'm going to put into the chat real quick. Um,
I was
you-
actually in the Great Pyramid, and I have seen that it was I've seen pictures of it that show that it's got a convex in it. I have seen pictures of that. It's not apparent when you're just hanging out there.
okay.
I think
Um,
you have to see it from the air at a certain angle.
so yeah, any questions, please. I will put them up here. This is your website, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. And so Maria asks, is it going to be 12 individual decks?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Wow, see, that's amazing. That's amazing. Um, and your husband just put or his book was just released. Was that yesterday?
It was yesterday. It came yesterday.
Wow, that's amazing. You guys are busy. You've got grandbabies that you see quite often.
Yes.
Do you watch them or just
Yeah, usually once a week, but we've all been sick, so we haven't really seen them for like weeks now.
and I bet they just love coming to grandma and grandpa's
Yeah, they
house,
have a
don't
good
they?
time. They do. They have a good time with us.
I mean, you not only are you're not only an artist of, painting and creating tarot and I mean, you create like little doll houses and clothes for the dolls and
Yes. Like, when I do a deck, I need at least 3 years to just do other things like knit and make doll clothes and, do doll housey things, and I have to do other things. Just, I need, um, three-dimensional things, after doing 2D things, and writing, I have to have something tangible. I did go in the pyramids.
and didn't you find like once you were there, some of your visions were like, I know this.
Yeah, 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 Karnak was like that. Karnak was like that. Like, I had dreams of Karnak. Like, I had this really weird dream that I was on the street that I grew up in, and it was lined with rams, and there was water coming through, and when I was at Karnak, here was this lane lined with rams, and I was talking to somebody who was with me. I was like, I wonder if water came through here because I dreamed that there was water coming through here. And so my friend asked the tour guide if there would have been water coming through. He goes, "Oh yeah, during the floods, the annual floods, water would have come through here." I'm like, "Yeah, that
Wow.
was real. I guess
Yeah.
it wasn't just a dream, that was real."
That's extremely validating because from a point like that, it makes you pay more attention to the visions and the dreams and Yeah. So Maria asked, like, do you notice anything like what, like in your grandbabies, anything like that?
I haven't yet. They're, they have their own agenda. So I haven't, I would so be open to that. If he had, somebody needed to dress up in a certain time period, I'd be totally open to that. Um,
Dammy. That
damn,
must be what they call you, Dammy.
yeah,
Dammy.
dammy.
That's
And
cute.
Farah asked if the pyramids are they close to the city? Yeah, they're right in the city. The pyramids are like right in the city. Like we stayed at a hotel that we just, you know, went up the road and around the corner, and then we were in the pyramids. We were there. And it
Wow.
smells like pee in the pyramids, just so you know.
Really? Oh,
It does. It smells like pee.
like cat pee?
No, just like pee, just like human
Oh,
pee.
okay. I'd be
But
like, "Oh,
you'd be really surprised that it's very peaceful inside the pyramid.
mm,
It feels really safe, and I thought I would be freaked out, like, going through a tunnel, because it is quite a narrow little space, and you're climbing up this shaft, and, you know and we were joking that they needed to have, um, scarab fresheners hanging, and we were laughing about that. Like, "They need some car fresheners hanging here. Maybe scarabs would be nice." And, it's a little old and stale, but, it's
yeah, what are those things you can, like, put right here so
I
that you're
know,
go smelling that instead of
right,
smelling salts or whatever?"
yeah. Just in case you wanted to know what it smelled like in the pyramids.
Yeah, well, I wanna go. I definitely would love to go.
Yeah, I thought I'd be freaked out, but I wasn't. I thought
Mm.
I thought that would be an issue going through a narrow passage, but you get to a certain point and then the ceiling opens up when you're in this shaft. And if you look up, the stones are layered in this perfect, almost like a herringbone kind of design, and it's incredible. Like,
So,
I have no idea how they did it.
I was just gonna ask. I was
I
just
have
gonna
no idea.
So what do you think about, like, there's theories that it could be possibly related to, like, sound?
Definitely, because we were doing sound acoustical things. I also think they could have been generators of some kind.
I have a spider right above my head, so don't mind me.
Just don't scream.
He's a jumping spider. Got him. I didn't kill him, I just moved him. I don't wanna kill him, but I moved him.
Yeah, you don't need that in your hair.
No. Oh my goodness. I Do you get a lot of stuff in your hair?
No, not too much, not too
Oh
often.
goodness, I do.
Do you?
Yeah, my kids,
I
because we used to have a problem with stink bugs, and you still see them periodically,
Oh, we
and
do too around here.
I won't know that it's in there, and
Ugh,
my kids will be like, "Mom." I'll be like, "What? Get it out, get it out."
they're everywhere. They're
Yeah,
horrible.
they are, I can't
I
stand
don't
them.
ever remember stink bugs when I was a kid. I didn't
Me
really
neither.
this is new
Yeah, darn things.
environment.
Somebody brought them in, from somewhere, 'cause, yeah, you're right, I don't think they were here like this. So, with let's see, you had mentioned Mary Greer, was that her name?
Yeah, yeah.
So, any relation to Stephen Greer?
No, no,
No?
Mary Greer is a tarot author.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and
Yes, I'm
Nikki
not.
Scully had just done, uh, like, a majors only tarot deck, so she was kind of promoting her tarot deck, and Mary was, Mary's Mary, she's like a headliner for tarot,
Okay.
and so it was a way for her to promote her deck, and
Well, I think I've heard you talk about Greer, though. Have you
Stephen Greer, yeah, but they're not related at all.
what so
Stephen Greer is the guy who's, like, into UFOs.
yeah, yeah. So what do you think about all that?
Yeah, I think they're definitely real. I think I've had some visitations myself, especially in the '80s. There was a lot going on in the '80s.
Yeah, yeah. I remember, at one point, I was at work, and you and Peter were having a similar vision that I was having, but it was like I'm farsighted, or not farsighted, I'm, nearsighted, and in one eye, I was able to see far, just one eye, and at the same time, you guys were having a vision of a alien that was showing you the left eye,
Oh,
and I
that's
was like,
right.
"What is
I
going on with that?"
barely remember that. Yeah, that was weird.
It was weird. I'm like, "Something's going on. They're trying to communicate with a bunch of us at one time."
Yeah, that was weird.
It was weird, but
Yeah,
yeah, it's really interesting because his way of looking at aliens is not like, you know, these
yeah,
UFOs are gonna come down and they're gonna be,
yeah.
it's more of an interdimensional type energy.
Energy, energy beings, and that, the universe is conscious,
Mhm.
and like we're the only ones who haven't figured out that everything is conscious, not just us.
Right.
We're so egotistical that we think we're
Yes.
the only ones who are conscious,
Yeah,
and that's ridiculous. Here we are,
I
these
think so.
tiny little humans on a huge planet,
Yeah.
and we're conscious. And we've all watched dogs dream, and we've all watched cats dream, and we've all watched,
Mhm.
you know, all the things that are conscious. It stands to reason that the entire universe is conscious.
I missed a question. Um, Maria says, "What do you
Mm,
think the pyramids were used for?"
I'm, I'm thinking I'm more leaning towards the idea that it was a generator for love energy and maybe even electricity. Um,
Yeah.
my one of my favorite shows was the Egypt Code or the Pyramid Code, and they have a premise on there that there's this pyramid that's north of Giza, not the Great Pyramids, but a pyramid that is just north of there that is like exploded, and it goes deep into the ground, and there's places that were burned, and it lines up to different constellations. And they think that all pyramids started as like a structure in the ground, and then it was built up from there. And it's just a unique and interesting look at pyramids. Um, yeah, that I think is my favorite resource for talking about pyramids and what were they for. And a lot of the imagery that you see where the costuming has these long tails on the clothing, it would have been a way to ground them. So if they had some kind of Tesla-like energy source,
Yeah.
because remember, these pyramids or like tombs and things were all painted in, and there's no soot marks, there's no like lamp torch scorching, like dirty walls because you've been burning oil. These things are painted in the dark. No. Um, there's like every indication that there was maybe some kind of electrical source, like some kind of Tesla energy. Like when you have two obelisks that are solid granite next to each other, they're going to generate electricity. They're going to generate some kind of like, they seem like antennas. And there's so many mysteries about Egypt, this perfectly symmetrical carvings. The older you get, the more confounding some of the things are. Um, like there couldn't possibly have done some of these things without tools, like real machinery. And yet, Egyptologists want to say that they did this with copper tools, and you know, the
Yeah.
chances are that we've had high technology in the past. Human beings have had high technology in the past and then lost it as more um, likely. And I'm thinking that there's probably things buried in the Sahara that we don't know about.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, so Maria says, I wish they would reveal what they found underneath the Sphinx, but that Egyptian Indiana Jones is keeping that a secret. So
Yeah,
it's like,
there's like a structure underneath there. There's a hollow, like we could see that they were down in there. There was a ladder that was going down, like in the back by the tail, and there was like an opening, and we could see that people had gone down in there, and so it was hollow.
yeah.
But of course, no one was going to tell us
See,
what was
that's,
there.
yeah. Yeah. Somebody, probably a lot of people know, but not the majority. Obviously not,
Well, you
not
know,
us.
there's this wanting to save, not to contradict religious things that are so important there. You don't want to rock the boat with ancient things that might like contradict religion. And so that's a really good reason not to rock the boat, because you don't have to explain that. Because once you get into that, then, some of the other things seem silly.
Yeah. Yeah. And we're finding that more and more. Um, Carol said, yes, they were able to make light with a reaction from copper tubes and some type of liquid. It's like,
There's
yeah, they had that in the Qumran, that uh, village or whatever where the um, Essenes lived. They found evidence of that type of lighting.
Yeah, like using wine and some kind of metal.
Absolutely.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
it makes sense.
I believe so too. Eventually, we'll know more. I mean, look at how much stuff has come to
Few
light in the
centuries just
last.
have to die off before we can actually access.
We won't know everything. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. So, do you think that? Do you believe that there were giants maybe in that time?
if you show me evidence of skeletal remains, I will believe you.
Well, I mean, I know I've seen pictures, but I know pictures can be manipulated.
Well, and the thing is that um, the more ancient structures have bigger stones,
Hmm.
and the more recent structures. So, I can't
Yeah,
explain it. Um, there is some statues that had these eyes that were so real, like you can't, like they were one of the oldest things. A statue made of wood with eyes that were so real that light would reflect back in. So they had these statues, standing so that if you opened the tomb, you'd see these eyes looking at you. And when you look at how they were carved out, like they were just perfect. They were
yeah.
perfect.
Like they just turned to stone. I don't know, but so this Peter says it's crazy how much information humanity has lost over time. And just that statement alone, I think, how do we know things? How are we going to know things?
Yeah.
So it's like, when you had a vision, it felt
Yeah.
like a
Dreams and
memory.
visions are how we're going to get to know things, and then research.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, our grandkids don't remember what a cassette player is. They don't know what an 8-track player is.
Yeah.
So, you know,
Yeah.
that's how fast things can change.
So Farah says, asks, what was the most memorable part of your trip to Egypt?
Mm, gosh, I don't know. Probably standing in front of Sekhmet.
Did you feel something?
and standing in front of Hatshepsut's mortuary temple.
Is that's because that was in your vision, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
actually being there, and I couldn't spend enough time there. Like, it was all cool. I mean, Dindira was really amazing, and Karnak was really amazing.
So with everything that you're equipped with when it comes to knowledge, experience, visions, do you ever wonder about Atlantis? Do you ever think about that?
I used to think about Atlantis more than I do now. Like, actually, there was a thing that I just found recently. Um, there's a place I can send you pictures. There was a place that somebody was talking about on Instagram, and it was like a something. It was very ancient and in the desert, like near Morocco, like
Yes, Maria and I think we're just talking about this.
is circular,
Uh-huh.
and it they said it was like a volcanic dome or something that got worn down, and
Hmm.
they have found all kinds of debris and like it might have been. And then
Yeah.
when you look like at the land
Even the mountain range was,
right by the Canary Islands,
yep.
which is supposed to be, you know, like
Yeah.
Atlantis. And I thought, wow, if that was Atlantis and, people were living there and water flooded in, there's,
That's what
I'm
it would look
sure
like.
that when I journey into the age of Leo, we'll be finding more out about that.
Well, I've covered let's see, all the mystical things that I could pick your brain about, I think. Besides, I mean, I know you believe in mystical creatures.
Yeah, yeah. If they come and visit me, how can I not believe in them?
Exactly. So, if you could like give advice to anyone that yeah, because we've talked about it before, and I know you have great advice when everybody is out and they're saying, it's the end of the world or things are coming. You've given some of the best advice on that. What would you tell somebody that was worried about an apocalypse?
Yeah, well, like everything is on time. Like the universe is always on time. And um yeah, like I think the universe is always on time and everything is happening as it's supposed to happen. Unfolding.
And it's not the end.
Good. No, it's just a new beginning,
Yes.
like now we've been inundated with liars, like politically. We've been inundated with lies and lies and lies, but that will force us into the current age, which is the time when we have to do our own research. We can't just believe. We have to know. So it's
Well,
exactly what we needed at the time that we needed it because it's so easy to believe. It's comfortable to believe. Let the experts handle it. They know what they're talking about. But now we realize that we don't have any experts. We don't have anybody in charge. There are no adults in charge. So we
oh my goodness.
we have to do the work. So,
Yeah,
you know,
absolutely. Nothing's going to come save us.
no, this is not the system that we started. The system, isn't taking care of us.
So, what is the hard work? What do you think that is?
Um, I think, becoming yourself
Mhm.
and becoming your authentic self and
Authentic.
not being afraid to be your authentic self, because people might ridicule you or, you know, think that you're crazy or, like crazy is what we need right now because,
Yeah. Yeah.
something's got to counteract all the normal.
Yeah. Normal is the
Normal
unicorn.
is the new crazy.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we were talking about that before we went live. My daughter had me take a test. She's a psychology major, and she had me take it's called RAAD, and it's a test for autism. And the test, if you score 130 points, then that's the scale. Up higher is autistic. I scored 125, so I was 5 points below the autistic part that put me in the spectrum. And to me, it's amazing. So I asked her, I said, well, then show me somebody that doesn't have something quirky about how their brain works. Show me somebody like that.
Right.
Do they
Where's
even
the
exist?
baseline? Where's the baseline human?
Yeah. There's something quirky about and the way that we think, and we need to embrace that because exactly what you said. Why cover it up? We
Yeah.
are who we are.
Well, how long has it been, like, we weren't allowed to talk about our weird experiences, we weren't allowed to talk about our dreams, we weren't allowed to talk about these things because, oh, people will think we're crazy. Now we find out that UFOs are real, and people have been talking about it for a long time. And,
Yeah,
we knew. Like, I'm not surprised. I knew.
absolutely. It's exciting.
Yeah.
It's exciting when people start talking about things that you do know because you're afraid, because society says that's crazy. And then somebody's just talking about it openly. And you're like,
Yeah.
wait,
It was like 2015 or something like that, and the Canadian Prime Minister was talking about UFOs being real, and that, like, the world is being held hostage by the oil cartel. And I'm like, well, now that's gonna blow up. Like, holy cow, somebody finally said it. And then nothing happened. Nothing was said about it. I didn't hear it again. Like, it was just like silence. And then Stephen Greer started talking again about it more recently. I'm like, yeah,
Ferris says, does that mean I can stop taking my antidepressants? And Orsi says, no, not if they're working. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. We still got to coexist.
yeah,
I mean, we have our role to play. And if
yes.
we can't
I'm
coexist,
completely unmedicated. Like, I can't handle medicine at all, not even an aspirin.
yeah, I can't really, I mean, I take vitamins every day,
Me
but that
too.
is really it.
That is me too. My food is my medicine, and my medicine is my food. And I
Yeah.
take supplements, like vitamin supplements. But
Yeah. What you're not getting.
right, because I
Yeah.
know that I'm not getting,
Hmm.
like,
Exactly.
yeah,
That's how I
vitamin
am.
D for sure, being in the northern
Yeah. That's one I need
hemisphere.
to add in.
Vitamin D? Yeah.
Oh, vitamin D I just added, but I don't take it. I thought you said E. And my hair is getting all
Yeah, mine is too.
ugh.
I gave myself a huge haircut at solstice.
Your hair looks beautiful.
I cut off, like, 8 inches, so now I
I
have
need to
no
get
hair
mine.
left, but it'll grow back.
Yeah.
I keep
Oh
telling
yeah.
myself that as I panic.
So, I know I've said this to you before, but do you guys see Stevie Nicks?
Do we see her?
Do you see Stevie Nicks? I mean, I think you're much more beautiful than she is, but
Oh, that's pretty sweet, and she's 10 years older than me.
well, she's beautiful, don't get me wrong, but I'm also partial, so
I have a daughter named Rhiannon, so yeah, I know of
that's
what you speak.
true. That's true. I forgot about that, but yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
I'm a big fan.
oh, absolutely. Yeah. So I think I might have asked this last time, but my memory does not serve me very well. You practiced witchcraft at one time, but you don't now,
I I've
or
dabbled in the
never, or you
past, and
dabbled.
it works, and I do not do it. No.
Okay.
No.
You're right, it does, yeah. Yeah, so,
Yeah,
yeah.
no, I do not.
I love that answer because that's one of the reasons why I mean, I love to learn about it, but I'm just not ready to go there. I'd
No.
rather just keep learning about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Any more questions for the lovely Julie? Um, I know that, Farah wanted me to keep picking your brain,
That
and the only thing that comes to my mind is about, like, paranormal stuff, because, I mean, I know you showed me a picture at one point, and you were right on the money. You had a spirit cat in your house?
yeah, yeah. We have a lot of spirit cats, like, spirit things. Yeah. We don't have as much activity as we used to, like, when we first moved in here and we were younger, like it would just be, like, every night there'd be something going on,
Yeah,
and now it's kinda slowed down, but we're listening more, I think, you know
maybe that's what it is.
you know, they don't have to get our attention, like,
Right. Yeah.
like, I'll just get an idea, and I'm like, "Oh, yeah, okay, I hear you." So,
Do you think that certain people attract it more than others then?
maybe if you're open to it, like, if you're open to it, you'll attract it. Um, I don't know. I think, it's been happening to stuff has been happening to me since I was little. So, um, you know, it didn't happen to everyone in my family, but it did happen to me. And I wasn't really allowed to talk about it because it was too scary. So,
I kinda agree with, what she's asking, like, I I kind of know, but, because I had mentioned before, I believe that you're like when it comes to, uh, like, a journey into the crone years, where you are is, like, very inspirational. So, do you believe that you are, like, or are you retired? You don't work, right?
yeah, I don't have a regular job. I mean, I'm not retired because I'm working at an oracle.
Right, right.
No.
So, but your time is yours now.
Yes, pretty much. Yes.
So, can you take us through a a typical Julie day?
A typical Julie day would be get up, clean the house, have breakfast, sit down at the computer for as long as I can before dinner, before I have to make dinner. And then we have dinner, and then I just, relax and knit something just to kind of clear the palette. But I'll work on the computer all day now that I'm working on the Oracle deck again.
Oh, so yeah.
So, like,
So you're not retired.
not retired. No, no.
I think that's amazing though.
Yeah. And then I'll go to bed and I'll start thinking about the next day. What pictures am I going to do? And I'll have all my questions like, what about this? What about that? How does that line up with this? I'll have all my questions and then I'll usually wake up with answers.
And so as far as like spiritual, is there anything that you do for yourself to keep you in the zone maybe?
Um, Not being distracted by anything but my own work, you know? How great is that? That's
Creativity.
that's a pretty good practice.
I think so too. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think that's awesome.
I'm kind of like I kind of like have been lax on my yoga that I used to do every morning. Like, yeah, whatever.
Yeah, I can't even I don't think I've ever done
Try
yoga.
to do that every morning, and then, like, we'd have people coming, and I'd have to do something early, and it's like, it's just another hour that I gave up where I could be working, and
Do you find time for meditation or anything like that?
I think my whole life is meditation,
Okay.
you know, like,
Do you ever read for yourself, tarot?
oh, sure. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
But you don't really read for anyone else, just
No.
yourself?
No, because it's too draining. Um, I don't want to be a counselor. I don't want to counsel other people. I don't want to read for other people. And I've done it in the past, and like somebody will make an appointment with me. I'll spend all day cleaning and getting ready, and it's like nerve-wracking, and they're supposed to show up and then they don't show up.
Oh
And then
my
I'm
goodness.
like, forget it. I'm not doing this. I wasted my entire day. Like, nope, not doing it anymore. And then
So Farah wants to know if you have a knowing of your future.
I'm 64. I don't have a knowing anymore. I used to have a knowing of what was going to happen next. And now it's just day to day. I'm on a need to know basis.
You need to know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Most of the time, I don't need to know.
Yep. I'm thankful. I'm thankful I'm here today.
I woke up on the right side of the dirt today again. You know, like that does change after 60, you know, like that really does change.
That's interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. A lot of changes since menopause.
Yeah.
A lot of like just more
Yeah.
me time.
I can see that. You're very
Calmness.
calm. There's nothing.
Yeah. There's no like the cycles of madness that would happen with PMS, where the inner bitch is worse than anything external, and you just can't take another voice.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's all gone. All of the eggs have shut up and gone away, so you don't have any more of that chatter. It's pretty nice, I have to say.
How long have you been out of that, you think?
Since 2016, which was quite late, actually. Like, I think I was 58 before I stopped.
Wow. Come on, 58. That's all I got to say.
My mom was born at 53, so I was expecting to be done a lot sooner.
Yeah, see, I still have like, you know, and I don't have the hot flashes, so I'm
I do.
really happy about that. But I am so much more calm, you
Yeah.
know.
I don't mind the hot flashes. Like
Keep you warm in the winter.
they're interesting. Like more like a rush. I don't really feel that hot. I just feel like this rush of energy.
I
Yeah.
get a rush of energy just from talking to you. It's like my solar plexus just yeah. But hot flash, I'd have to be outside in the winter.
No, I don't really get hot. I just kind of like just feel like
Warm buzz.
yeah, warm buzz.
Yeah. See, I get that too. Oh, I love Lady Blind Wolf. I'm 49 and my eggs got the hell out of Dodge about a year ago.
Uh, I heard at 60 there's nothing left.
Yeah.
So,
Well,
yeah,
maybe find Atlantis in there.
chatter is gone. The chatter is gone.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
definitely peace.
Well, I can't wait for that. I mean, I'm getting there, but it's still there sometimes, you know. Hi, April. Well, we're just a little bit over the hour, and is there anything you want to tell the world?
Um, I don't know. Well, Peter's book came out yesterday, and we're very excited about it.
Absolutely.
And watch for Carla's channel, and he'll be on to show off his new book.
Absolutely.
And
Yes. Yes.
and he's up there going bah humbug. Um,
Mm.
I've been working on my
Where is
new
that
book.
available on?
It's on Lulu, and I have a link on my Facebook page. I'll be
Okay.
putting that on my website too.
Okay.
I just haven't been on the computer for the last couple of days. We've been fighting a virus, and
Yeah. Yeah, we did too.
oh, he hands me the book.
Oh my goodness. Look
I
at
know
that. Yeah, you're right. It's huge.
it's huge, and you know, let me see if I can find a page where there's a lot of writing. I mean, the writing is like intense. And that's not even like a full page. Like some of these pages are like just full of writing.
So Peter is like followed the path of the shaman. Am I right in that?
Yeah, when I met Peter, he was really into Native American stuff, and so was I. We were both. He was in college. I was just out. Um, but we hung around in the same social circles, and so he was vegetarian, and he was into Native American spirituality, and now he hunts.
Now he hunts?
Now he hunts, and we've done it all. I mean, we bought this tiny little house in Watertown when uh, we were married for like 5 years, and it had this gigantic backyard that we've done, gardens in every year. So he's got a lot of stuff in here about all of the different things that we've done with like urban farming, and from raising rabbits to raising chickens and, bees, and, you know, fermenting food and doing stuff like that. So that's in here, but it's also got his poems and, you know, and his artwork from, because he's an artist as well, but he doesn't like to flaunt that. But,
Oh.
he's been drawing
What
things,
is his sign?
a real sky Aquarius.
Oh, see, that makes so much sense to me. Um, Farah says, how do you think the elderly were treated in Egypt?
I don't really know that many people got to be elderly.
Oh,
You'd be surprised even now how old people look, even when they're really young. Like, I met people my own age and were just like shocked at how old they were. Like, because it's kind of a harsh existence.
okay.
You know?
Mm. Well, on a lighter note, Lady Blind Wolf says, I'll tell you what's really fun is going through menopause, and your youngest is going through the whole puberty stage show. That was fun. I can relate because that was my middle daughter, Faith. She was very much in puberty while I was in menopause, like full blown, and it was like, oh
Yeah,
yeah, it was great.
yeah, that was yeah, that's hard.
It was hard.
All the women in the house are bleeding at the same time.
Oh yeah, those
That's not fun.
good times. Yeah.
Fun times. A lot of good memories of my own mother.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Yeah. Um, did you and Peter take vision? Did you ever do like a vision quest together?
Peter's done one. I have not.
Okay.
Peter's gone on an actual vision quest, and I have not done that.
Yeah, I can't wait to hear about all that. I think I am familiar with the story because I watched Amber's.
Yeah, Amber.
Mhm.
He's written about it in the book,
Yeah.
in the Peter Grimoire.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
all in here.
I think that's awesome. So that's like a lifetime
It
right
is.
there.
It's like memoirs, and it's like also, um, it's kind of like a legacy.
Yeah, I
Every
think that's awesome. Does he have any books besides that one?
he did a smaller version of this, but he's also going to be doing an oracle deck with the pictures that are in here,
I remember him talking
the,
about
the
that.
artwork that's in here. Like, I can
That's
find the pages. Um,
excellent.
so, like, he's got a whole oracle that's coming out, and the last section of it has the meanings of the cards in here. I don't know if that's going to be a separate book or not
Hmm.
to go with the oracle cards.
How amazing. I think that's excellent. My my other half, he's a farmer and he he supports that I love to do this stuff, but he just doesn't really know much. It's hard to share
Yeah,
this.
that's hard.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he's a farmer, and among many other things. So I mean, I'm thankful. Well, all right, we are going to sign off, and I thank you so much, Julie. I could probably talk to you for a lot longer, but I want to ask you some stuff when we get off here,
Okay.
for some future projects.
Yeah.
So, all right, I thank you very much,
You're
everybody
welcome.
that showed up today, and thank you for anybody that watches the replay. And I hope everybody enjoys the rest of their day or evening. And we will talk to you soon.